Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 games that killed their franchise.
And the result has been bloody exceptional.
For this list, we'll be looking at the video games that, for one reason or another, derailed their entire series. Have you played any of these flops? Let us know in the comments. Number 10. Silent Hill, Book of Memories. On the surface, this is a competent enough hack-and-slash dungeon crawler. The issue is that it has the name Silent Hill attached to it. The seminal horror franchise carved a spot for itself through spine-tingling thrills, gruesome storylines, and survival horror gameplay. Three things that Book of Memories lacks. The marked shift in the genre made it feel like a completely different game with a new title slapped on. Even those who appreciated its gameplay loop bemoans the fact that it shouldn't have been called Silent Hill at all. The biggest shame, though, is that the title's poor reception left the series in limbo until recently. Number 9. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. The return of this beloved fighting game franchise should have been an instant bestseller. The MCU had turned Marvel characters into household names, and Capcom delivered their own heavy hitters from series like Street Fighter, Mega Man, and Resident Evil. But all that only makes this game's failure all the more embarrassing.
Final judgment!
It takes only one look to see why Infinite flopped, and that's no hyperbole. The engaging gameplay couldn't overcome the clunky animations and scuffed character models. Alongside a highly questionable roster and stiff competition from other modern fighters, the game ended as a commercial and critical disappointment. The only thing infinite about it is the hope for a better sequel one day.
They went aimlessly like a worthless animal! Oh, what's wrong?
Number 8. Dead Space 3. The third entry of this shooter series was conceived as a tightly written, horror-themed thrill ride. Unfortunately, the only scary story here is what happened behind the scenes. Pressure from publisher Electronic Arts forced the team to incorporate more action elements, with the end result failing to satisfy either genre. To make matters worse, the full-priced game came with scummy microtransactions and lame DLC add-ons. Since the actual game reused assets from past titles, it felt like the series had steered out of Dead Space and into a black hole of buyer's remorse. Later in 2017, its developers would disband entirely. Yeah, this game didn't just destroy its series' reputation, it took its makers down with it. Number 7. Turok. Rule 1 of reviving a fossilized franchise is to do the original justice. But the only thing this reboot does is make us wish we were playing the older games instead. Coming after a brief hiatus for the series, the first-person shooter gameplay returned as archaic as the actual dinos. It didn't offer anything new to the genre that plenty of other titles weren't already doing better. Admittedly, it's not as mindless as the ill-fated Turok Evolution, but at least that has some identity. This just felt bland. Despite decent sales, the middling reception ensured that the developer's planned sequel was left in prehistory. Number 6. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain. The name of this entry is also an apt descriptor for the fate of the series itself. On the outside, the 5th mainline addition to the Solid Snake story was a stylish and fun ride. Its main character was undercover, but its undeniable success was anything but. However, just beneath the surface was a troubled and rushed production cycle. The behind-the-scenes frustrations led series director Hideo Kojima and the rest of his team to part ways with developer Konami. Without the series' creative mastermind, Solid Snake has been mostly left in retirement ever since. Unless there's some major amends made, any more games will be Metal Gear in name only. Number 5. Crackdown 3.
You may want to take this pipeline control platform offline. Just a thought.
After 9 years, a new console generation, and several delays, fans finally got their hands on the long-awaited 3rd installment of this action-adventure series. And, well, it wasn't bad exactly, but it wasn't great either.
And the result has been bloody and bloody exceptional.
Though it took an extra 3 years of development time, players soon realized that Crackdown 3 failed to innovate upon the series' formula in any meaningful way. After such a long gap, people expected something new, not just a fresh coat of paint on Crackdown 2. The muted reception from both players and developers imply that no one's very eager to revisit this battlefield anytime soon. Number 4. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. This trip to the halfpipe epically wiped out. Sure, it didn't make you use a janky real-life board like 2009's Tony Hawk Ride, but that's really the only nice thing we can say about it. Pro Skater 5 is a broken, nearly unplayable mess of a game, and not even in a so bad it's good way either. More like, please don't glitch out again so I can be done playing type of experience. At least the litany of bugs adds some novelty to the driest, most uninspired skating the series had seen yet. The toxic reviews and low sales even caused developer Robomodo to go out of business. Afterwards, Hawk refused to renew his licensing deal with Activision, and honestly, we don't blame him. Number 3. Perfect Dark Zero.
See you topside!
Back in the early 2000s, this sci-fi franchise emerged as a real contender among the crowded first-person shooter market. At least until Zero's liftoff crash landed. Right from the start, the game's development cycle suffered heavy crunch so it could be a launch title for the Xbox 360. This led to tons of cut content, sky-high publisher hopes, and a release that failed to meet expectations.
Stay in my sights!
It's a true shame that it never got a sequel, since the game actually turned out pretty well given the circumstances. If this is what the team did under tight deadlines, we can only imagine what they'd do if given the proper time. Number 2. Dino Crisis 3. After After sending its prehistoric beasts to space, this installment suffered from flying too close to the sun. The pitch for this threequel was apparently just dinosaurs in space. We promise, it's not as cool as it sounds. It didn't help that the ambitious change in scenery also jettisoned most of the ongoing storylines from the previous games. Old fans were alienated, and new ones were left with one of the worst cameras in gaming history. It can't seem to keep up with your character at all, let alone show you where you're going or what you're shooting at. It's something of a mercy that the series went extinct after this.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Duke Nukem Forever.
Sir, yes, sir! It would be an honor to escort you, Mr. Duke Nukem. Sir, let's go.
Ironically, this series did end up bombing, just in a more literal way than they expected. The game cooked in development hell for 14 years, which is obvious since it plays, feels, and looks like something from the past console generation. Not in a charming way either. Instead, the stale humor and unpolished graphics made it clear that the series was stuck in its old ways. Duke Nukem's comedy, gameplay, and audience needed to evolve if it wanted a spot in modern gaming, but instead, it crashed and burned in an explosion of its own making. It's been over 10 years without any word of a follow-up, and maybe that's for the best.
In the mood for more awesome gaming content? Be sure to check out this video here on Mojo Plays. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.